Spencer's moving his head like that cat in the meme. Like, yeah.
Welcome back to yet another episode of the Stumped Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Spencer.
I'm another host, Matt.
And I am longtime guest, Logan.
Lovely.
Nice. Long time
Know
guest.
your place,
I love
Logan. Know your
I
place.
know you. He is in dead last, Matt, with no chance of winning. So
No, it's not even because I'm in last. I'm literally a guest on this podcast, and longtime
He's
listeners
our
should know
forever
that.
guest.
I am forever a guest.
You
I
are
am not a
forever
host.
guest.
Forever a guest.
that is true. That is true.
Never a
Anyone
host.
from my work is investigating me. I promise I'm not a host.
He is not. Let the record show it.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, episode 9. We are, including this one, 4 episodes away from concluding season 4, which is kind of crazy to think. And Matt, I don't want to. We were talking about this before, and Logan wanted me to go on record in saying this.
I need this on record.
I want everyone to know, until caveat, Logan scores a point, I score a point, or any sort of tie, I am so team Logan that I hope Matt's pity party is a crying river. I've never been more team Logan than this point.
First off, after 4.5 seasons, I hope we're a crying ocean. But
That is like Red Sox and Yankees fans hugging, Ohio State and Michigan fans hugging. I mean, the bitter
Rejoicing.
survivals for 3.5 seasons, and here we are, Team Logan.
Because
It
right now,
warms my
Logan
heart.
wants Logan's team Spencer. Logan's anti-Matt. That's what he is
Correct.
right now.
he's not team anybody.
He's not. He's anti-Matt. I'm anti-Matt as well. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I'm team don't take the SAT. Like, whatever can keep me from losing this and having to do something stupid.
I love it.
I'll-
And so,
I'll
Matt, what's the
support it.
scores again? You want to remind everyone?
Yeah, the only 2 scores that matter.
Mhm.
Logan's got 1 point. I've got 2 points. And then our fearless Spencer has 6. So I can still catch up.
Oh yeah, Matt is still
My
in the realm of
stories may
possibility.
not catch up.
Well,
Uh,
yeah. Well, anyways, the theme this week was anything. So technically, there is no theme. And gentlemen, I have been saving these stories for probably
Oh.
a year and a half, if not longer.
Wow.
By saving
Dang.
these stories is I've had this in my archive for a while. And
Interesting.
remember how I texted you guys today and said I didn't have my stories done? It's because I forgot the theme was anything, and I already had these. These were already done.
Ready
And
to
so
go.
my theme, if anyone knows anything about me, and I know you two know this, without a doubt, the all-time greatest television show ever, bar none, nothing's in the same realm, is Seinfeld. And so
I knew
my
that was
theme,
coming.
I knew you did. My theme is Seinfeld.
All right.
Oh
Matt,
boy! Oh
Have you
boy.
seen Seinfeld?
Not every season, nor every episode. So this is gonna be a tough
I think
one.
I've seen 80%.
Okay.
So
Here's a fun fact. Something that I actually restarted it a couple nights ago. My wife fell asleep, and so my go-to Seinfeld. I put it on Netflix, and I thought, man, I haven't seen season 1, episode 1 in forever, the pilot. And Seinfeld, it's clever because they start the series and end the series the same way, talking about a button on a shirt. Anyways, I started watching that, and what I completely forgot is Kramer's name, and I have a story about Kramer, was originally Kessler. And
really,
Jerry said Kessler, and I was like, what the heck? And I think the original slated name was Kessler. I didn't look it up,
This is gonna
but
be
I
tough.
literally heard them say that last night, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Spencer
Kramer.
came swinging for this episode.
Kramer's the best. Kramer's easily my favorite character.
Kessler.
Yeah, Kramer's hilarious.
Yep. Anyways, so that's my theme.
Well, I am walking into a theme of dominant athletic performances.
Ooh,
Oh, you wrote about us.
I know.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Spencer's
And
home
Logan's
run
is
to
the
win.
false story.
Yeah. Everyone's a comedian.
Logan, what's your theme? What history thing? What like ancient World War
Okay, it
One
is.
military?
World War II stories are you telling
It
us today?
is history. I don't
Mhm.
know. I gotta think now. There may be one around that era of World War. Yes. I'm doing
Can't wait.
the baddest men in history. Not like evil. Like
Oh.
these are some bad dudes.
Yeah.
Some dudes that survive some stuff that most of us would not. So
I would never. I'm the older I've gotten, the more I've come to terms. I'm a wimp. I'm weak.
Yeah.
Wimp. I would break under torture.
My fight or
Facts.
flight is like flight, and it's like jet speed flight real fast.
Yep.
I
So.
wasn't born with wings, so I default to fight.
Oh. Who wants to start? I'll start. If either one of you want to start, I don't
Logan
care.
should start. You haven't
Logan
started in a
starts.
while, have you?
You know what? You might as well. Now, I will say
Okay.
this is not a story or anything to it, but I was listening to a 5-hour podcast this week on the Battle of Stalingrad.
Ooh, okay.
Phenomenal podcast. It has nothing to do with my story at all, but Spencer gave a quote and it made me think of this. He said, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend."
Mhm.
And it was talking about the rivalry between Winston Churchill and Joseph Stalin. But then when Hitler invaded Stalin, instantly Britain sided with the Soviet Union. And Winston Churchill famously said, "If the Nazis invaded hell, I'd give a favorable report to commerce for the devil himself." So that's what it made me think of.
That's awesome.
So yes,
Okay.
that's how you're on my team.
Give us some bad men, Logan.
All right. Do you want the unkillable soldier? Names Lightning McQueen, or The Last Night Rises?
Gosh, I don't care. Matt, you got
I
a
went
preference?
Lightning McQueen.
Lightning McQueen. All right. There are some world records not worth breaking. One of such is held by Glenn Cecchini, Cecchini. So I butchered that. I'm sorry, Glenn. AKA the Human Lightning Rod. Born in 1938, Glenn was by all accounts fairly normal. The middle child of 3, he became a school teacher at Tupelo High School, where he also coached baseball. When Glenn was 24 years old, 1 year into his professional career, he was struck by lightning while walking on school property over his lunch. He was rushed to the hospital, but miraculously survived. This horrible incident repeated itself 3 years later, this time when he was standing in his backyard. A third lightning strike hit Glenn in 1969, this time as he was sitting in his lazy boy chair in his own home. A fourth lightning strike hit him when he was standing on the baseball diamond. This time he was leaning on a metal bat during the incident and had to have his right leg amputated above the knee as a result of the injuries he sustained. Over the course of the next 45 years, he was struck an additional 7 times by lightning, bringing his total to 11 lightning strikes survived by the time he had turned 82. He had said to develop quite a strong case of paranoia to flashes of light throughout adulthood, with so much as a camera flash causing him immense reactions, as he carefully avoided them. He died at the age of 82 of a stroke, but still holds the record for most lightning strikes survived at 11. There's a plaque outside of Tupelo High School commemorating his achievement, one he did often joke about with students.
I would.
You said 11 times?
There's like bad luck, and then there's like that. Where, you know, the phrase is like, it's more likely to get struck by lightning than attacked by a shark? Not if you're that guy. Like, you're more likely to do a lot less than get struck by lightning. I mean,
That dude's more likely to get struck by lightning than like stub a toe or something. Like,
oh, man, that's terrible.
That's
Also,
a really
can I
unfortunate
backtrack?
time.
Tupelo High School? Tupelo?
yes.
I guarantee that's a real high school, because no way you're just going to make a high school. But Tupelo. I'll just let that sink in there for a second.
Just let that sink in.
Tupelo.
All right. What's your next one?
The Unkillable Soldier or The Last Night Rises?
Give me The Last Night Rises, because I love The Dark Knight.
Okay. Few callings are more noble than the medieval knight. A fighting force known for their loyalty, honor, and strength, knights ruled the European continent for hundreds of years. The tales of old, though, were often just that, tales. That's why, when Nazi Germany came riding into Czechoslovakia in October 1938, they were shocked to find one lone knight standing in their way. A single shot could have certainly defeated this brave warrior, but the Germans, not knowing what to think of this solo foe, didn't fire upon him. No, they simply marched by him, letting him stand in full armored glory. The last knight. Who was this ironclad man? Joseph Mensick. Born into the bloodline of a small noble family during the Holy Roman Empire, became fascinated by the knight's lifestyle. So much so, he bought an old rundown castle in 1911 called Dobers. Dobrs. There's no vowel there, so you'll forgive my pronunciation. But he fixed it up to its former glory, and he, along with his family, lived an authentic knight lifestyle. They had no electricity. They lit their castle purely by torch and candle. They didn't ride in cars. They took horses everywhere. He swore to a knight's code and stood up for what he believed was right. The community around Joseph embraced their local knight. He was quite popular among local children for his relics and the castle, which he treated as a museum. When the Nazis invaded his homeland, he was so distraught, he went out alone in full armor, riding a fully armored horse to greet the German army. As forementioned, they let him live in the first encounter, and even in later encounters, he was reported to attack tanks on his horse with a sword. They would laugh him off as a crazy old man and refuse to fire upon him. Joseph lived to see the end of the war in his castle, but unfortunately, a more dangerous foe waited for him after the war: communism. The communist Soviet government took over Czechoslovakia post-World War II, nationalized his castle and all of his possessions. Broken, Joseph died 2 days later in his son's house.
Shout out to him, man. Seriously.
Attacking tanks on horses with a sword is brave work.
Could you imagine just you're in a tank and this horse and this dude with a long sword just shows up?
It's like a video game, but yet the knight wins or something stupid.
Did he
Right.
record
Okay,
any
what's the
kills?
last one?
The unkillable soldier. All right, I'm going to read for you
With
both.
his KD.
Oh, it was up there. The first paragraph in the biography of one of the most unkillable men I've ever read about. All right, quote, Lieutenant General Sir Adrian Paul Ghislaine Carton de Riart was a British Army officer. He was awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest military decoration awarded for valor in the face of the enemy. In various Commonwealth countries, he served in the First Boer War, the First World War, and the Second World War. He was shot in the face, head, stomach, ankle, leg, hip, ear, and was blinded in his left eye. He survived 2 plane crashes, tunneled out of a prisoner of war camp, tore off his own fingers when a doctor declined to amputate them. Describing his experiences in the First World War, he wrote, quote, Frankly, I had enjoyed the war. Born as the eldest son of his parents on May 5th, 1880, Adrien Carton de Riart lived a remarkably difficult life. His parents divorced early, led him in not great circumstances, living in Cairo, Belgium, and ultimately England. During the Second Boer War, Adrian faked his age to be 25. He was 18 or 19 at the time, and enlisted in the British military. He didn't tell his father at the time, but upon being shot in the stomach, his father found out and was not happy with him illegally enlisting. However, he was allowed to stay in the army. Upon recovering from his first gunshot wound, he served tours in India, Somalia, where he lost an eye and a portion of his ear to 2 different gunshot wounds, and eventually the Western Front in World War I and the Baltics in World War II. He was captured and held as an Italian prisoner of war. He made 5 attempts to escape his POW camp, including a 7-month tunnel dig that did land him 8 days of freedom on the Italian countryside. Despite knowing no Italian, he blended in as a local peasant for over a week before being detected. The eye patch gave him away. He retired from fighting and was sent to Southeast Asia as a representative of the English government post-World War II, where he slipped and fell down a flight of stairs, breaking several vertebrae and knocking himself unconscious, but made a full recovery from those injuries. He served his country for several more years before finally dying at the age of 83 in 1963.
My word. You think
Yeah.
if anyone's listening to
that's
this,
wild.
and if anyone thinks their life is bad, and if this is true, your life is not bad.
Just the sentence. He was shot in the face, head, stomach, ankle, leg, hip, ear, blinded in his left eye, survived 2 plane crashes, tunneled out of a prisoner of war camp, tore off his own.
here is my dilemma, Mr. Schwarzentrooper.
Tell me, Spencer. You're on my team this time.
I know, but I'm still not. I'm still shooting for a point. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
still
I get you. I got you.
I am fairly certain I know one. The other two I'm debating I've never heard of before. Not even a little. Matt, are you already locked in?
Yeah, I'm locked in.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm
dang.
almost 100. Let me backtrack. I'm 72% sure I've heard of Tupelo and the guy getting struck by lightning in the plaque. I'm almost certain I've heard of that because I thought Tupelo, same thing, the high school, really threw me off. Could I be making this up? 100%. But for some odd reason, I feel like I've heard of that, and the same thing went through my head at the Tupelo. So I think that's true. I would have said 2 was false a million times over. If Logan didn't repeat that stupid phrase that you did, that just a matter of fact, the blah, 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 that very beginning of it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think Logan wrote that. I think Logan wrote that stupid thing, and he just is saying that to.
What, the Winston Churchill thing?
No. The
Oh, I was like,
the first thing, he was shot in the head. He was this, he was that, and I enjoyed the war. That's a
Oh.
Logan Schwarzentrooper line, if I've ever heard one. The dilemma, I just can't see the Germans letting that guy live. I mean, I just cannot fathom that. And so everything everything is screaming at me, saying that 3 is false. But I feel like 2 is just like calling my name. You know what? Screw it. I can live with it. If I'm wrong with 2, I can live with it. If I'm wrong with 3, I can't. So I locked in 3. I'm locking in the guy who was shot 100 times. I hope that's true because that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. But I can't sleep with myself if I don't go with that one.
Matt, what'd you think?
3.
I locked in 2.
Oh.
I'm pretty confident I've heard 3. Now, did you add to it? Maybe. I'm pretty confident I've read or listened to a story about a gentleman who got shot multiple times, wasn't supposed to be in the war, and went through all this stuff.
The problem with that too, Matt, I was with you. That sounded so weirdly familiar, but I couldn't get past the fact of how Logan said it.
My biggest issue is like 2 is hysterical, and it's kind of hard to believe. So like that could very well be true. 1 is very easy to make up.
One's
to
true.
An extent.
I'm
to an
almost
extent.
confident 1 is true.
Okay, that's where I was like, I've heard of a very similar story, but I couldn't necessarily say like, okay, 11 times, but I've heard someone getting like electrocuted through like sitting in his chair, and he got electrocuted a lot of times. 11's excessive, so did he add to it?
That's not.
I
Logan.
don't know.
That's not Logan. That's why I said no way.
He needs points.
That's true too.
But like Logan will take a true story and just build onto it.
Yeah.
So everything about like this being scared of flashes, like that's a brilliant little piece of the story to add if it was made up. Like that's brilliant. Like,
yeah.
Because you can't avoid that at all. Like
that's so funny.
So what you got for us, Logan? What's
All right, well.
You don't seem happy at all.
What?
You don't seem happy.
Oh no, I want you both to not get points, but you make it difficult. That being said, Lightning McQueen, I made up. That is a 100% fake story.
Yes, dude. Where'd you take that from? I could have sworn I heard
Googled
something
out of
very
curiosity,
similar to that.
What's the most someone's been struck by lightning? And it was 7 times. That's the only truth from that story. I pulled his name. I Googled winningest baseball coaches in Texas history and pulled like the 7th name. So Glenn Cecchini, somewhere out there, congrats on a great career, my dude. The school that he coached at wasn't Tupelo High School. That was the school of the 12th winning coach. I just picked a random school somewhere else down the list. I made
That's hilarious.
Everything in between. I made up the years he was born.
Dude.
The story of each strike, the flashes.
You got a point?
Yeah, I got 2. because I
Standing-
snap!
Standing ovation.
That was
You-
beautiful. I love this. I love the flashes. That was
Dude,
so well
the
done.
camera flash.
I could not get past that. I thought I could have I literally, you know what did it for me, Logan? The plaque. I thought I heard that before. I thought I heard there was a plaque dedicated to someone getting struck by lightning.
So
I
I
literally
almost
thought
made it
that.
a statue of a coach standing with a bat, and then I was like, no, I've been burned on statues before. We're gonna make it a plaque.
You nailed me on that. I was like,
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
I think that's true. I think that's true. I literally
Yeah.
was like, I'm debating between 2 and 3.
Yeah,
So you
I
killed us. Well done,
intentionally
dude.
didn't research the dude that got struck 7 times, so I couldn't even have like elements of truth in it that I didn't know. So
That's
whoever was
amazing.
struck by 7,
That was so good.
your life sucks. But
Yeah.
this 11 strike dude was
So
that
our thought process
100%
of this
fake.
is easy to make up because you can take something and
Yeah.
run with it was correct.
Yes,
Roy
true.
Sullivan,
Now
1912, he was born.
that's the dude that got struck 7 times. That's a life.
Poor guy, dude.
The unkillable soldier's real, and that paragraph I read you is the opening paragraph to his biography that was written about
That's
his
amazing.
life.
That is amazing.
Found that biography. I heard about this on. There was a podcast I was listening to, and someone made reference to it, and so I pulled up the biography and just copied and pasted the quotes from that, and that's my source for this guy's episode.
That
So then I
is-
pulled some other stuff. Yeah, saying quote.
That is
Frankly, I enjoyed the
amazing.
war. It's just psychotic. Like that's nuts. And the last
That's
night,
amazing.
Joseph Mensick, 100% real. You can look it up. There's pictures
Dang.
of this dude, ironclad horse, ironclad suits of armor, riding against Nazi tanks. Like, yeah.
That's
I love
amazing.
the fact they didn't kill him either. They're just
Yes.
like,
So
I hope he shows up tomorrow.
that's what
That's
I'm
amazing.
listening to this. I've been listening to this podcast in World War II. They killed everyone they came by. I'm shocked they let the dude live. But they said, and I almost included this, which is true. But I thought it would maybe throw it off. They said that they would slap their helmets like this and stick their tongues out at them, and it made me think of the Monty Python scene when they're
Yes.
taunting each other. Because they said they would do that to him as he rode by because they all thought he was crazy, and so no one would shoot him because it was almost just like in the atrocities
That's
going on,
so
it was
funny.
a little
That's
lightness
amazing.
in your day, like to have this guy you could just pick on and he come
Oh,
riding
that's
out with
great,
his
dude.
horse and just hit your,
You
your
got
tank
2
with a sword.
points. This is
Yeah.
not good.
Great job,
Oh.
Logan. Seriously, that is so funny. You had me dead. The moment you said lightning in 11, and then you said plaque, I was done. There was no chance. Well done.
I needed that.
You
It's been
did. That's
too
a big
long since I had
morale. That's a morale
huge
booster.
boost.
huge morale booster.
Ah,
That is
Okay.
my night on a horse riding in that I can make fun of.
Well, Logan, you
Alright.
put me in a good mood, so I'll jump
Yeah.
next
Go for it.
because those are too good. I was actually just hoping 3 was true because that is that line was killer. Okay, so we're doing 3 different characters. Okay, do you want to hear? I'm going to say the names, and I want you to, if you can guess it, I want to hear it. We have Jason Alexander, Michael Richards, and Wayne Knight. Does anyone know who those 3 guys portrayed in the show?
It's Kramer.
Kramer is who? Which one?
No, I don't know which one's Kramer. I'm so bad.
Okay.
Wayne? Is Wayne Kramer?
No.
Just a guess.
Jason Alexander is George Costanza. Michael
Okay.
Richard is Cosmo Kramer. And then Wayne Knight is Newman.
Okay, that was my
So-
next guess. Was Newman would be
Yep.
one of them.
Yep. So Matt's like
This is
looking at
not
me.
looking good for me.
Do you know who those people are, Matt?
Again, I've seen a few episodes of the show, but no,
So don't worry. Okay.
names and actors are bad for me.
Do
I
you
don't.
want-
Newman's the mailman that Jerry hates. He always goes,
Mhm.
Newman.
So do you want Kramer? Do you want Newman? Or do you want Costanza?
Give me Newman. I like
Okay.
Newman.
So for the listeners out there, I give a little character abbreviation. Wayne Knight plays Newman. If you don't know the show, Newman is Jerry Seinfeld's, like Logan said, arch nemesis, and he's a mailman. Okay. However, in real life, Wayne Knight and Jerry Seinfeld were actually childhood best friends growing up as next-door neighbors. While Jerry began his stand-up career, Wayne was actually Jerry's first manager booking shows at small clubs. As Seinfeld began to gain traction, Wayne stepped down and helped hire his replacement, George Shapiro, who the pair called a real manager. During the making of Seinfeld, Jerry wanted to get Wayne involved in some way, thus the birth of Newman. But the real story actually started years back during the early years of stand-up. Knight, as a joke, would consistently hide the small, hand-sized bouncy ball somewhere on stage that only Jerry could see to help relieve some nerves and make his friends smile. During the first interaction between Newman and Seinfeld on TV, Jerry took that same ball and used it in the scene. Moving forward in every interaction between Jerry and Newman, you can find this red bouncy ball in the scene. This is not unusual for Jerry because his favorite superhero, Superman, is in some way, shape, or form referenced or seen in every episode. The summer of 2019, for the 30th anniversary of Seinfeld, Jerry and Knight signed the red ball and auctioned it off for $35,000, which was bought by producer Tim Kaiser, and all the proceeds were donated to Stand Up for a Cure, a nonprofit supported by both Knight and Seinfeld.
Great story.
I don't
Amazing.
want to tip any hands on anything either way. So give me Kramer.
This is gonna suck so much.
Michael, okay, so Cosmo Kramer, if you don't know who it is, he's the crazy neighbor of Jerry Seinfeld. Okay. What you may not also know is Michael was in the Army before his acting career. While in the Army, he played a lot of chess and claimed that he was unbeatable, even to the point where he was playing a 2100 rated computer, which is extremely good, borderline master. One day, he was out on Hollywood Boulevard. Standing in the corner, he saw this man, tattered, dirty, street person, but he had a chess set. So Michael asked him if he had played, which he responded, yes, I do play. So Richards told him that he would play him and play a game with the homeless man. And the homeless man responded, I'll play you in a game, but I'll only play you 2 games. If I beat you 2 times, you can't play me no more. Michael agrees, and they draw for colors, and he starts as white, which is a huge advantage, or at least he thought. They then sat on the sidewalk and began to play. Michael moves, then the homeless man moves his piece very quickly. Bang, 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 checkmate. Michael loses and can't believe it. 2 minutes, no one had ever beaten him that quick, not even the machine. They drew for colors again, and he was white again. Bang, 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 checkmate again, faster than the first time. 2 games is up, and the man on the street begins to pack up. Sorry. Michael is insisting on playing the homeless man again, but he kept saying, no, I beat you 2 times. I can't play no more. Richard then begins to follow him down the street, begging to play, only to be consistently shooed away. To this day, Kramer thinks Kramer thinks he could actually be the greatest chess player ever.
Cool. I'm so lost right now.
So
Okay.
Oh, this episode's not
if
looking
you
good
want
for
an
me at all.
interjection, I too played 2 games of chess with a homeless person on the street in Skid Row, Los Angeles.
Did you actually?
100%. This
That's
dude
amazing.
had a chess set up. We were here in LA. We were in Skid Row. I'm going, and he's got chess set out. And I'm like, you play chess? He's like, yeah, I'll play chess. We played 2 games. The dude smoked me twice. It was unreal. So I don't know if this is true or not. There's a 0% chance it's the same man. I'm not good at chess, so it's not hard to beat me.
0% chance it's the same.
But losing to a homeless person twice in chess is relatable on a very like you start telling that story and I'm like, holy cow, like he's read my journals or something. Like this homeless dude
That's
smoked me
amazing.
in LA twice. Dude, the dude was insane. He was just always 2 moves ahead of me. He has to play all the time, but I mean, it was crazy.
All right,
Anyway,
That's amazing.
Give me Costanza.
Jason Alexander, aka George Costanza. Again, if you don't know George Costanza, he's a crotchety man who's Jerry's best friend, and he thinks nothing ever good happens in his life. Well, as Jason began to play the character, he was trying to find inspiration. Initially, he auditioned as a Woody Allen impression, but as they've made the first couple episodes, it never felt quite right. After the show got picked up, the cast was doing a table read. After the table read, Jason was slightly confused and maybe even a little annoyed because he felt that his character George had gotten himself into a situation that no one could have ever gotten into, and George reacted like no human ever would react. So much so that he went to the writer and executive producer and said, Larry, please help me with this. Larry David is the executive producer. Larry, please help me with this. This would never happen to anyone, and no one would ever react this way. Larry then looked up at Jason and said, what are you talking about? This happened to me. This is exactly how I reacted. And in that moment, Jason realized he was not playing George Costanza, but he was playing Larry David. Although he can't remember the exact episode, he remembers in that moment he switched from a Woody Allen inspiration to Larry David. Seinfeld.
Great stories, by the way.
Yeah,
You
good
did the
stories.
show
I just
justice. I'm locked in. I'm not helping
Love
Matt. I don't know. I'm 50-50.
Dang!
I'd heard one of your true stories prior. I'm 50-50 between the other two, but I really lean heavily towards one. Just
Okay.
off of
episode is
what I
gonna
know.
be so bad for me. No clue.
So I'm locked in. Matt, I want to hear you think about this though, because I do know one that's true.
All right. Number 1, Newman. I think I've heard the Superman thing of always being in every episode. So that's the only thing I've got to think that's true. The Kramer story. It's hysterical. It's even funnier the fact that Logan had an identical
Yeah, that's
weird.
story.
that's
So, like, if
creepy.
you made that up, amazing. You also laughed a stupid amount of times during it. Jason, sounds good. I literally have no clue like what to even think on these. I'm locked in.
The downfall for Matt here is he's never like truly seen Seinfeld, so even the characters you can't even like.
I can barely
Relate.
visualize them.
Yeah. Logan, which one? I'm gonna hear. What did we lock in here?
I looked at number 1.
Okay. Which story did you hear? Wait, Matt, which one did you lock in?
I locked in 3.
Okay.
So number 2, Kramer's. The one that I can relate to, I also thought I'd heard. I'm like fairly confident that I've heard that story, that he was an incredible chess player, but he lost to a homeless person twice who just refused to play him after. And that's like a 99% conviction. Like you started that story and I could have finished it because I'd
Dang
heard it
it.
before.
My gut said go too.
I'll stop you there, Logan. That's 100% true. And if you have not seen the video of it, it is 10 times funnier with him acting it out. I was literally crying. Tears were coming down my eyes. I have seen that video 100 times, and it's saved on every social media platform I've ever had.
Yeah. And
I should have gone too.
I had never seen Seinfeld when that happened to me. I was a freshman in high school when I did this. And just hearing that and being able to both put myself in the spot and then also how he told it, like that clip that I saw, yeah, absolutely. If you've not seen it, Google it after this. You're done listening to us because it's hysterical. Spencer is spot on.
Yep.
So I was
And then
between 3 and 1.
So, yep. So, Matt said 3. He went Jason, and then you went Newman.
Yeah.
Well,
I can give you my logic, but I don't know at that point. That was a guess.
yeah. What is your logic?
So you had me on one. You fed bits of truth that were pretty well recognized. The Superman stuff like that people could cling on to and be like, oh, that's true. Let's bypass the overall story you're telling. And so I went with that instead. Also, the Costanza. I had heard that Larry David had told someone that one of the episodes was based on a reaction he had. I don't know if that's the reading of Costanza or something, but because that I swung towards number 1 over. But
yeah, truly, I don't even care. Can we play victory music right now?
You want victory music at 35?
Play it right here. And here's why, gentlemen.
Because
I can
Logan got
officially
it right.
go to bed very content because the winner of season 4 Stumped Podcast is Spencer Mason.
I got it
because
right.
Logan, you nailed it.
You picked a good
Number 1
theme.
is false. Wayne, I know. Wayne, Knight, none of that. I actually literally don't even know anything. I don't know much about Wayne Knight. I literally thought, them being enemies, well, let's throw that together and make it kind of a fun story. They're friends now. The Superman thing, I guess it worked because Matt said that. I wasn't even going to put that in there, but I thought that's actually a fun fact that everyone should know. There's a Superman in like every episode. But the Jason Alexander, that's true. He's talked about in like 7 different interviews. That's probably an exaggeration. But it's funny listen to him during those interviews because he's literally like, oh my gosh, I'm playing Larry David. And apparently multiple of the episodes are like kind of based on something that happened to him. I don't know, but there's an interview that Jason talks about.
That's why I'd heard that multiple episodes were based on like Larry David's life experiences, and so that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna cling to that as true over the.
Yeah.
Dang.
So 2 things just happened right there. I
won an
officially
episode.
clinched victory.
And at 3 points,
this podcast.
Me and Matt are tied, regardless of what happens.
And now I can swing back to Team Matt. And so this could not have ended better for me. I'm the winner, and now I'm Team Matt. What a great night.
My stories weren't going to make it through this episode anyway. So.
Matt, let's hear it just for...
Yeah. We'll just hear it for the sake of...
It's for the content.
Longevity.
Give the fans what they want.
Yes.
I've got 3. Again, we're about dominant athletic performances.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the great mounting, zoom, and we are simply better.
Give me we are simply better.
We are simply better. Alrighty. We are simply better. Here we go. The 1997 Florida Gators baseball team did well, posting a 40-win, 24-loss record with a 17-13 record in conference, and won the SEC Eastern Division Championship.
What year was this?
Our story today is 97.
Okay, I forgot 97 or 47.
Oh,
go on. I was just
97.
Okay. Cool.
But our story today is about one specific player, a player who did not get the opportunity to play in 70% of the games in college, but a player who would find dominance in another continent. Brian Ogle, a 5'9" outfielder from South Dakota. Like Logan, Brian was a lefty, but a true lefty in throwing and hitting aspects of the game. You're not a true lefty, are you, Logan? You hit right-handed, don't you?
I'm one of those weird lefties that does a lot of things right-handed.
Yeah.
Most of my life's left-handed, but
Brian would be ashamed.
Yeah, I hit in golf right-handed because that's how the world turns.
That's how the world. Right.
No, left-handed gloves are expensive, man. Stick to the
that's
right
what you
hand
do.
stuff.
Huh?
Yes, I go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, Ogle.
I just remembered you asking me for a lefty catcher's glove, and I sent you a picture of one from my great uncle from the 40s.
Yeah. Break my hand.
All right, Brian would graduate in the spring of '97 and join Go Ministries, an organization that empowers local leaders to make disciples via their Go Sports Academy to teach baseball in India. During this time, he was able to connect with the community through cricket. While Brian had a short career lasting only 4 years, from the fall of '98 to spring of '02, in the Indian Premier League, his rookie season gave him national attention in the cricket community. At the end of his rookie season, he had a batting average of 71, a good average is 40 to 50, and accumulated 1,237 runs with 29 balls hit over the boundaries. While his fielding was just as impressive, showcasing safe hands by accumulating 758 dismissals by air and 47 dismissals by runouts. He won Player of the Match 21 times in a 60-match season and ICC Emerging Cricket Player of the Year in '98. His offensive stats stayed rather consistent throughout his 4 years in India, ending his career with a batting average of 63, 4,932 runs accumulated, and 112 balls hit over the boundaries. He would win the ICC Men's Associate Cricket of the Year in '99 and the ICC Men's ODI Cricketer of the Year in '01. He would return to the States in the fall of '02 to be with family and tries to make it out to India every few years to get a few matches in.
I don't know a lick about cricket.
So I actually learned about cricket from a friend of mine from India. And very interesting sport. They're actually trying to introduce it in Warsaw, Matt, out your way.
Yeah.
There's a league going up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One of the people helping found that league is who I had gotten lunch with and
oh, nice.
Learned some of the rules because it interests me.
It's complicated.
That being said, hearing you say all those terms, it just made me think of like Family Guy or shows like that where they just have to give like generic like Burger Queen and the Whomper. You're
Because
like
of like,
ball, like
That's funny.
like outs via air, balls hit out of play. Like you can't say home run, but that's what it is. So that
funny.
made me laugh. I was chuckling at your terms, which is the correct terms, but that's funny.
it sounded so weird.
It sounded
Not saying home run.
it's like great
it's just
value,
like
great value brand baseball terms. Like
exactly.
this many
Love it.
outs via air assistance or whatever. Yeah, that's good. Anyway,
That's amazing. Okay, where are you the other two?
I've got the Great Mounting and Zoom Zoom.
Logan, you can choose.
let's go zoom.
Zoom Zoom. Alrighty, Zoom Zoom. Born January 7th, 1985, Lewis Hamilton has etched his name in F1 history as one of the greatest drivers to sit behind the wheel. He is currently tied with Michael Schumacher for the most F1 Drivers' Championships at 7. Hamilton was born and raised in England and started karting at the age of 8 and would win the British Kart Championship at the age of 10. Hamilton's karting success caught the eyes of McLaren and the Mercedes-Benz Young Driver Support Program 3 years after his British Kart Championship, and by the age of 15, he was the youngest ever driver to be ranked number 1 in the sport, as he would continue to dominate each track he raced on. In 2007, he entered his rookie season in F1 with McLaren, and was only 1 point behind the World Drivers' Champion winner, and would come back for revenge in 2008 and win the World Drivers' Champion, becoming the youngest to do so until 2010. Hamilton would drive for Mercedes-Benz starting in 2013, and after struggling his first year, would go on to dominate F1 with Mercedes. He would win 6 Drivers' Championships in 11 years with Mercedes, and currently holds the most wins by an F1 driver at 103. To put some perspective into this, Hamilton is 48 wins ahead of the second most wins for active drivers. If that isn't fair enough, he has the most points. In F1, you get points for a variety of things, like placing first through 10th place and stuff like that. But he has the most points in F1 history by a driver at 4,645.5 points, which is roughly 2,000 points above second place for active drivers. In a perfect season, a driver can score about 500 points. So, considering Hamilton has no plans on retiring and is actually moving to Ferrari next year, some wonder if any driver will ever be able to pass his record.
I thought he was moving. Yeah. For some reason, I had in my mind he was going to Lamborghini, but Ferrari, that sounds a lot more familiar.
You know anything about F1, Spencer?
Not a single lick. The only I do know this guy.
Yeah, that's same.
I don't know a single thing about the sport,
No.
but I know him.
Yeah,
Only because and I know he's very good, but I don't know if he's that good.
my Formula One knowledge is 0. I
Negative.
have no.
I actually
know
don't
his
even
name,
know what it looks like.
and I know Max Verstappen's name or whatever as the other dude that's like shows up on ESPN's winning things a lot. I don't know anything else.
I know his
Yeah.
name, and I know he was moving to a different car. I don't even know what F1 is. I couldn't even tell you what it looks like.
It is
it
those
drag
cars with the
racing?
wheels that are like outside, right? Like they're like flatter. They got like the big wheels outside the car that kind of wing
dude.
out. Open cockpit.
F1 is a lot of fun. If you want to get into it, I'd highly recommend Netflix's documentary series on it, Drive to Survive.
I should have watched it.
Didn't even know
Phenomenal.
there was a documentary series on it.
Phenomenal. They're in the 6th season right now.
Oh.
Phenomenal. Like the documentary aspect of it is so good, and you get like real drama.
Is it better than Full Swing?
I haven't seen Full Swing yet,
That hurts.
but it's so good. Basically F1, it's an aspect of racing, but there's no each circuit. There's a bunch of different. Each circuit or track is its own design. Left turns, right turns, straights.
It's like
non-straights.
Almost sometimes.
Cars get up to like 230 miles an hour, and they're turning at like 100 miles an hour on some turns.
That's crazy.
It is wild to just watch. So if you want to get into more, the documentary series is actually really good.
I might have to watch
I feel like
that.
I'm gonna need to like watch a race of it just to even get a.
They
into-
race each weekend. The race is on Sunday. They have qualifiers on, I think, Saturday. And then they have practice laps on Fridays.
That's so cool. Okay,
So
I don't have a clue on that
Yep.
one.
No, none at
right.
all.
next one. Loss of breath. A great mounting. I'm going to butcher this guy's name. I'm so sorry. Lafitte Pincay Jr. came to the United States in 1966 at the age of 19 from Panama and developed into one of thoroughbred racing's most accomplished and revered figures. He quickly found success, winning 8 of his first 11 mounts while riding at Arlington Park. His success did not stop there. He would win the Eclipse Award for Outstanding Jockey, which is given annually to honor jockeys, in 71, 73, 74, 79, and 85. He won the Breeders' Cup, a series of Grade A thoroughbred races, so basically the cream of the crop, in 85, 86, 88, 89, 90, and 93, and won the Kentucky Derby in 84, riding stale. His accomplishment didn't stop there, but horse racing terminology is slightly confusing, so I'll simply put it by just stating that he has 9,530 wins and holds the career wins records at Hollywood Park, Santa Ana, and Belmare in California. LP, that's what I'm calling the guy because I don't want to have to pronounce his name again, would retire in 2003 holding the all-time record for wins and has the all-time leader in earnings at $237,120,625 at the time of retirement. He has since been passed by multiple jockeys as the all-time leader in earnings, but still sits in second place as the all-time winning jockey by wins.
Oh, I'm locked in.
What are you laughing about?
Check your chat and look at your story titles. I'm not gonna lie. If you would have told me that cricket would be the one I know the most about here, I'm in trouble because I know nothing about horse racing either.
Oh, I'm locked in.
Yep,
Oh,
we're on the same page.
I don't know. Let me just write something
We're
in
on
here.
the same page.
I'm locked in too, and I don't know why, but
Explain to me your thoughts here.
I found your story title funny, so I locked in 3.
I locked in 3 too. And here's the reason why. No way in a human's mind someone wins $230 million as a jockey. $230 million, Matt. Oh my gosh. I don't believe that for even a second. Not,
Is that what you said?
not
I was
a
laughing too hard to stop and listen.
You said that number, and I said, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. You made that so unbelievable. Oh,
You didn't even pay attention to that one at all.
the moment you said
No.
230, I was done. I was done.
Oh my goodness. I told you my stories weren't all that great for this round.
I didn't even listen to that story. I heard it was about great horse racing.
Hey guys, it's Matt. So one of the pros of editing the podcast is when there's an issue, I try to fix it. I'm not, great at editing, but make it work. So this episode, Logan lost internet connection for some reason. He did actually join us, and we continued the conversation, but that didn't get picked up. I don't know why. It just did it. So I'm going to do my best to play Logan here and give you some information as to what he was saying that should help with our reactions and stuff. We'll see how this goes. All right, so here Logan was explaining how he doesn't listen to Matt's stories at all because he thinks they're really boring. And he just knows he can't win, so it's hard to listen when he can't win. But then he mentioned how great the titles are. Yeah, he was just throwing. I took some notes. Me speaking, I took some notes from Logan, and he couldn't get over how great the title was. I'd rather do some laughter and stuff like that. We're very immature. We have a good time.
Oh, that's amazing. So, Matt, tell us, are we wrong? There's no way we're wrong. That cannot be true. I'm sorry. I refuse. If that's true, I need to see your source.
You're both wrong.
Oh my gosh. He won $230 million.
The source. That's not even the highest. There's like 400 million
Oh my
in
God.
jockeying. It's an expensive sport.
$230 million?
Yo, bro. So I believe here Logan offers great advice to Spencer, and advises that he goes into being a jockey. He's approximately the right height. We'll find out a little bit later. He's not, surprisingly. But that's a new career, and he should mount up and take the reins.
Oh my gosh.
Not the right weight.
What am I
to drop at 100 pounds.
What am I doing with my life? How am I not riding horses? How am I not mounting?
Let me see if this the horse
Oh my
oh,
gosh.
Logan.
I don't know. Just keep talking. I need to know.
Let me
I need
see
to know
if
this.
these. Yeah, here it is. It does have it. I'll send you the link right now. I was like, I have a few links for this, a few
My
sources.
gosh. I would have gone to my grave thinking that one's false. Oh my gosh, I need the source, but that is amazing. So which one's false?
You back, Logan?
The first one has to be false then. I'm pretty sure Louis Hamilton.
I sent you guys a link. His total earnings. So here, Logan continues his comment of how Spencer should be short enough to be a jockey, and that he should change his entire career to go ride horses. Really,
I need to lose 100 pounds, but it's like
you have to be really light.
you have to be like 110
I think these guys are
pounds
talking
or something like that.
Yeah, they're talking you're talking like feathers.
Like
I did send you guys the link in our chat for this recording, so the link is there. It gives you total earnings.
I'll believe you,
So,
but that's ridiculous.
The false story is the cricket story.
But yeah, Lewis Hamilton. I almost knew that one to be certain. But
Yeah,
the cricket.
he's a stud. He's struggling this year, but he's a stud. Max Verstappen is the one that's. Max didn't lose. Max lost 2 of the 18 or 20 races last year. That was it. All right, so even though my knowledge, Matt, I'm not Logan right now, even though my knowledge isn't great on F1, Logan proceeds to show how little he knows about F1 in this little comment here. Something about racing and people and cars, probably something along those lines. I don't know about younger. I think him and Lewis, I think, have been racing together for against each other for a while. Honda. So in 2020, Honda started producing the engines for Red Bull. That's who Max races for. And ever since Honda has done that, Red Bull has just nearly been unstoppable. Their car is faster, everything about it. He won. I think Max won last week's Grand Prix by 10 seconds. And when you're going 200 miles an hour, 10
That's
seconds
dominating.
is absolutely insane.
Oh my gosh.
Their pit stops are 2 seconds.
That's crazy.
It's wild. They made a rule where you can't. It's like NASCAR. You can fill the car up with gas. F1's not allowed to because they had a fire at one point. So you have to build the car to hold enough gas to make it through the race.
So what's the pit stop for?
Tires, because you have to change your tires. So I think you have to have 2 or 3 pit stops each race, and you have to change the type of tire. There's hard tires, there's soft tires, and there's medium tires, and each one plays with the car differently. But yeah, that was true. Okay, so here, this moment, Logan tries to add some context to the whole F1 thing. Probably asked a question about pit stops and why. I don't know, to be honest. I forget why. But I think what Matt heard Logan say was something along the lines of, man, your stories are just phenomenal. They're doing really well. I don't stand much of a chance against you, Matt. Like, it's going to be tough. We're tied right now, but you'll probably pull away here shortly. And, you know, I'm not 100% sure on that specifically. I'd have to look into it. My knowledge isn't, like, super great. I recently, like 2 or 3 years ago, started watching more and more of it. But it is interesting, especially when you start to get the behind the scenes of it through the Netflix documentary. You get a little bit more of an understanding. So there's actually a lot of things happening right now about it. There might be some mid-season switches of drivers and stuff like that because of some scandals and stuff. So
I still cannot believe some horse jockey made $220 million.
dude, he's not even like, I'll try to find the link that showed me like the all-time records. He's like 10th or something like that in all-time right now.
Oh my gosh. Some dude, Yetaka Take, whatever, career earnings $925 million.
Yeah.
You gotta be
it's a rich
freaking
sport.
joking.
Have you guys been to horse racing?
No.
It's a hoot.
You're asking the wrong crowd here.
It's a hoot. I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to bidding, but it's an absolute hoot. It's a little boring too, but so at this point, Logan probably said something about how he knows nothing about horse racing either. Would love to go, be a great time, but also probably mentioned something about like that sentence by Matt made no sense at all. So probably a little flustered.
That's amazing.
It's a wild time. I recommend it at least once.
Okay, before we wrap up here, the average weight of a horse jockey is 100 to 120 pounds. I'm 80 pounds over that average.
So how tall do you have to be a jockey? Like what's the height?
5'2".
I got 2 points that
They
episode.
are 5'2". I would have to shrink, and that's saying something. I
Yeah,
gotta
they're
drop
short.
like a half foot. That's crazy.
I drop a half a foot.
And that's like saying something for me. Matt, you guys gotta drop a whole foot for crying out loud.
Gotta drop an entire foot actually.
My word. Well,
Oh,
gentlemen,
goodness.
a lot of laughs.
Oh,
that's
you have to
true.
spin the wheel.
Logan, you get.
Logan's ecstatic at this point. He finally gets to use his theme of Colts. Not like the horse. That's what I originally thought it was, but no, not the horse. Like Colts, like grouping people, that kind of fun stuff. So he explains how excited he is and thrilled that he finally won 8. Oh my goodness! Yeah, 9 episodes in. Good job, Logan. Good job. So he's stoked. He's got stories already written.
Logan, this is your first episode. It took you 9 episodes to win 1 episode.
I'm aware.
Logan, I hate to break your heart, but I'm officially jumping back on Team Matt. My victory is sealed. I'm coming with a big trophy. I'm going to get a bigger trophy than you, Logan.
So this moment, Logan decides to stand his ground here because he does not flight. He's a fight kind of guy. He decides to stand his ground and tell Spencer, like, you may get a bigger trophy, but I have 3. Meanwhile, I'm just in the corner celebrating nothing, really.
I don't care. I got 1. It's going to be bigger than yours.
So Logan here does one of the 2 things he's good at. One of the things he's great at, we've said many times, is titles. The second thing he's good at is spinning the wheel. So he spins the wheel. It goes round and round and round and round and round. I tried highlighting it, but again, we didn't get the footage. And it lands on About
USA.
Me.
Ooh.
About Me.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I know, you can't use that. Well, gentlemen, it's official. 6-2.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's
I
a
could've-
fight for not last.
So Logan here goes to explain that although our theme for next episode is about me, about us individually, he's like, oh no, I've told you guys all my stories. Like, my hide and seek stories. My stories on the farm. I don't have a whole lot of other stories.
Oh, well. Come up with new ones. Any last words before we end this? And then
Nope.
You guys fight for last? I'm sorry.
Shut up.
I know. I've been watching Logan win far too long.
So Logan mentioned something here about how, like, you haven't watched me win too much. I need to keep winning, blah, 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 which is false. He needs to stop winning. So does Spencer. Everybody here probably agrees with that. And then he signs off, the classic Logan. I forget what he says, but probably go Matt or something like that. So,
But
That's too funny.
well, gentlemen, until next episode.
Until next time. Toodles.
Bye.